Hey internets, it's Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and this is Descent into Avernus, Road Warriors of Hell, and we are back. Every other Tuesday, you can find us here with this campaign for as long as Vi gives us the mercy of continued living in this world. That's about some of it. Couple of quick announcements before I turn things over to our dungeon master. First and foremost, looking right up here above me, we have soul coins, and thanks to Tamiko and Carrie in the chat, we get 2 more of those. It's as simple as you, the audience, subscribing, gifting subs. You can cheer 500 bits. You can tip $5. All those things earn us soul coins that we can use for things like we can spend 1 to gain advantage on a roll. We can spend 3 to re-roll, or we can spend 5 to make our dungeon master re-roll if we're unhappy with how her dice lands. We can only do that through your generosity. Another looks like 500 bits thrown into the treasury, and there's another soul coin. We're up to 15. I knew that there were some announcements, but I don't remember them. So I'm just gonna skip right to the end with a reminder for everybody here, audience, players, everybody. Just remember that you matter. Your presence here on this earth makes a difference. Whether or not you believe that, it is true. We always take the time to talk about this before every one of our games, because mental health is something that is important. So we want to make it a little bit easier for you if you are struggling. First of all, know that it is okay to not be okay, but you do not have to struggle alone. We have made it so that all you have to do is at any time you can come into our chat and type !help. Doing so will cause a little message to pop up along with the URL findahelpline.com. Or you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. Those are a whole bunch of wonderful links. Bookmark those sites, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. Without further ado, I am going to turn things over to our dungeon master.
Welcome and thank you. I think we can just jump right in. Then. You are hanging from the city of El Turel, hanging from the great chains that bind it to the landscape of hell, that are being winched link by link down into the massive River Styx below. There's a battle raging on below you, a battle of devilish legions versus demonic hordes. You can see the well-armored devils in ranks and file. They bark orders at each other, and they have great war engines to try to stem the tide as these demonic hordes bubble up from the muck of the bank of the River Styx, some of them wading across it, how massive they are, and others hitching rides under the big gnarly fur that they possess. They are massive behemoths of wanton flesh and carnage that batter aside the organized and efficient ranks of the devil legions. That is the scene battling below you. It is a cacophonous sound, not as cacophonous, however, as every now and then you'll hear a chunk as another winching of the city as it gets dragged further and further down below. You can see that the city seems to be almost untouched by the battle going on below, as if it's some eternal stalemate going on. Perhaps this is a bit of a blessing. Perhaps it's just a way to keep the wound bleeding rather than pulling off the bandage and letting it all be done. But at the moment here, it gives you time to think, time to breathe, time to figure out what is going on. You had escaped from the high hall of Torm, realizing that there is no way to save Elturel from within its cracking walls, and instead you had received a vision by putting on the helm of Torm's sight that there is a powerful sword, a sword of Zariel herself, that could be used somehow to undo the damnation of Elturel. Of course, as visions are, they're a bit blurry and unsure. But with Lady Yael, one of Aeolian's patrons, seemingly having a dual life of her own unlocked here from all this cacophony and trauma, it seems that there might be more to her than meets the eye. As you hang here from these chains, Aeolian and the rest of you, you see Lady Yael hanging, holding onto the great iron chain and looking out, and she sees with her elven eyes what seems to be a strange shaped mountain in the distance, obscured by the haze of soot and ash that is this hellish wasteland. I remember this place. A hand of stone. That's where I met those Kenku brothers. Her voice is punctuated by the sound of the chain dropping again by another link. How do you make your egress down this chain link? What's it like to be dangling 500 feet off the ground, hanging onto these massive iron chains? We'll go with you, Aeolian, first, since you rolled the highest on your initiative.
I think very cautious at first, but as I start to kind of feel more comfortable, I start to add a little bit of flair to my descent, adding some swings. I figure, are we walking down these, or are we dangling from them like hand over hand?
You can be dangling over them hand over hand. They're too steep to really be able to stand. Maybe every now and then you can find a bit of footing just to reassess yourself, but it's...
I think, again, it takes me a little bit to get comfortable with it, but once I do, I start to add a little bit of like one arm swing, kind of like you used to do in the monkey bars when you were a kid. And, just this kind of graceful, but with a little bit of flair to it. Not constantly, but just kind of to break up the monotony of this descent. And I'm probably just humming a tune to myself in rhythm with my swing. So.
And as you descend, kind of taking the lead a little bit here, a figure pops out from that tunnel that you had taken egress from to jump across this chain. I've put a picture in the chat here of what they look like. You can see their face is that of a massive hyenas, their eyes aglow in crimson red, a wicked sadistic snarl across their face. There is a strange hooked implement in their hand, some strange blend of a scythe and a demon's claw. She peers over ahead, looking down upon you. She grunts and speaks almost in a voice unbefitting of her visage. I will not let any escape, Elturel. I will deny all souls to Zariel. And that is where we enter initiative. As she leans over, grinning, and all of a sudden, one after the other, a bunch of hyenas, a dozen of them at least, come pouring out of those tunnels and jumping and leaping onto the chains where you're all dangling from. Some of them don't quite make the jump properly and fall down to some grisly fate 500 feet below. But the ones that do land, they land next to you, perhaps even like landing on top of you on your shoulders or on where your hands might be. And here we enter combat. Hafsaba, what do you do first as two hyenas have fallen adjacent to you?
she looks a little startled, and I think she would recover pretty quickly though, and wave a hand at them, and the hand would sort of become just overlaid with a glowing bony one that goes to smack the closest of the two. And I cast Chill Touch.
Make that attack roll.
That is a 19
That hits.
for 2 damage, because yay. That can't be right.
You roll really low.
I rolled it 2, but I think I have a +5, so.
No, not unless you're an
Oh.
evocation wizard.
Oh,
Right.
right.
Mhm.
So yes, two necrotic damage. Not very much.
You can
And
see this. You can see the chill touch of this cantrip, grease kind of the fur of this hyena, causing it to like wilt and sag, and become molted and patchy, almost like mangy in that spot.
and she's going to say to her companions, if we jump, I think I can float us down if we want to make a quick exit.
Jacob, it is your turn. As 2 hyenas land adjacent to you as well. One kind of like dangling over the chain and kind of righting itself. The other one like directly above you on the hook of the chain. Easy access to your neck.
Am I able to use one hand, or at least one hand, to attack with at this
Yeah.
point? Yeah. Okay, I will at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to say that any kind of one-handed thingies are fine. Two-handed things are a disadvantage because of the balance needed to stay on these chains.
Okay, beautiful. It's almost like a reaction, actually. Jacob sees these creatures just land in front, and instinct is to lunge out as if I had a blade in my hand, and miraculously, as I do lunge out, a blade appears in my hand. It's, for those of you who are around and could see, it does not look like a friendly blade. It looks almost like those unholy blades that the other that had actually hit Jacob at one point in his neck. The Hell Riders would have seen it, so Arak might know what this is, but for the other ones, it looks like this vile, evil blade, really. It suddenly appears in Jacob's hand as he lunges out. And I will roll to hit. 17 to hit.
That is a hit.
For 6 points.
This is enough to slay this one hyena. Did you want to go for the one above you or the one below you?
The one that looked more threatening, which is probably the one above me, is the one I would have lunged out at. And that's psychic damage. In case
Awesome.
matters.
Zoe, it is your turn. 2 hyenas land adjacent to you, flanking you on either side of the chain link that you're standing on that you're balancing on. What do you do?
Is there one close enough where I could hit it?
Yeah, they're both within melee of you.
Awesome. She is going to take one hand off of the chain and just kind of swipe at she'll do the one that's kind of like more to her left side. Best I can describe it. So we'll do that. And her hand, as she does it, it's going to take on this black color as she swipes at this hyena, and she is going to do inflict wounds, but that is an 8, so I don't think that hits.
An 8 is not enough to hit.
And that's all she can do.
All right. Eric, it is your turn. A pair of hyenas land next to you as well. One of them lands a chain link above you, positioned down below, above you to strike down upon you. The other one adjacent to you. They're both threatening within melee of you. What do you want to do?
As I've been watching these hyenas leaping out and harrying this group, my anger at this entire situation has been rising, and it comes to a boil as I bonus action rage. I reach up a hand to the chain link above me and use it to sort of, for flavor, just sort of pull myself upward as I drive my fist into the one above. Or rather, attempt to drive my fist into the one above. That's going to be a natural 20. That's how you start off. And I've got a couple other little juicy things that go along with this. So, because I'm skilled in unarmed fighting, that would be 8 plus 3 is 11. So my unarmed strikes do 1d8 plus 3, plus the additional 2. So that's 11, 12, 13 for raging. Plus, the first time I hit on each of my turns, I can channel Divine Fury into my strikes, adding another 7. This is just the max damage for the crit, by the way. So that's 11, 12, 13. That's 20 points automatically. So then roll the D8 and the D6. That's another 9. So 29 points of damage with
an
the
uppercut, huh?
13 of that is 6, 7, 9 of that is pure radiant damage.
Mhm.
As I just pull up and just drive my fist into this hyena.
I imagine there's like a bit of like a sonic boom, like as you just launch this thing off.
I like it almost a bit like Sonic Boom, a little bit of Thunder of the Gods. And then coming down from it, was that enough to kill it, or is it still up?
Yes. Oh, it's battered and down.
And then as I kind of come back down, still holding, swinging around, my eyes glowing, looking around at everybody else. We can stay here and fight, or we can go with Hepzibah's plan. And I guess that's my turn.
Aeolian, you have a pair of hyenas drop down to you as well. They land a bit farther down because of your how far down you've kind of gone as well. So they kind of a bit of a rocky landing. They don't quite land within melee of you, but just within 10 feet. Like one of them lands at like a chain link above you, and the other one on the chain link below you. But they look like they're snarling and ready to pounce up and climb up to get you. Gives you a little bit moment to breathe. What do you want to do?
Okay. So how far away are they from me?
10 feet away from you.
10 feet away. Okay.
Yeah, 10 up and 10 down.
Hold on 1 second here. I gotta figure out what this is gonna do real quick. All right. So I reach down with my spare hand and I grab a hold. I've got a necklace that's got a skull kind of pendant. A tiny skull is the pendant. And I just kind of hold on over that, and I reach. I think back on the stories that I know. I'm going to use my Tales from Beyond. I rolled a D10 for my tale, so that's my bonus action. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to cast this on myself. It is I rolled for Tale of the Dragon. So I think back to a story that I heard of a magical dragon that was terrorizing a small town. I conveniently forget about the part where the folk heroes defeat the dragon and save the town and rescue the horde, but I focus on the dragon itself. And my eyes kind of glow red as I spew fire in a 30-foot cone at these towards these two hyenas. They need to make a dexterity saving throw.
So you can't get both of your hyenas, but if you point upwards, you'll be able to
Okay.
catch the hyena that's above you, and one of the other players is one of the other characters' hyenas. You get to pick
Okay.
which other character you kind of help out.
Any one of them.
Mhm.
I'll
Anyone.
just do it this way. I'll just do a D4 here. That's going to be Jacob.
All right.
So they need to make a dexterity saving throw. What's my save on it here?
When I add them together, I got a 6.
Okay, that's not going to pass. So
So they both
right.
fail.
Yep. Okay. Then all right. What is my bardic inspiration die? D6. So I get 4d6 for damage on this. So I'm going to take 12 points of fire damage
All right.
as I just spew fire at them.
Jacob, you have your last remaining hyena miraculously singed away by flame. As well, Dwight, Aeolian has the one above him rendered defeated by the flame as well. Just the one below you begins to advance upon you.
Okay. And then as is there anywhere near that I could scramble up to so that I'm not dangling near close enough where I could move to? Or
Yeah. I would say that you can move at half speed, climbing up this chain link, up or down.
Yeah, I'm going to just continue to move down. I want to see if there's a spot that I can like scramble on, or would I still be dangling from it?
No, you'll be able to, like, these chain links are massive. Like
Massive,
they're,
okay.
Imagine like they're forged by things bigger than giants.
So I want to scramble up to where I can prepare in case when it attacks me. So
yeah, perfect. You climb up 15 feet, getting yourself a bit closer to Jacob. Not quite like a back-to-back scenario, but pretty close, considering the vertical environment here. Lady Yael, she pulls out her long, slender sword and again fends off the bites and gnashes of two hyenas that land near her, impaling one of them on the end of her sword and casting it down to the furious hell below, as the other one snarls and yips at her. Of course, now the hyenas will go to attack all of you. So Aeolian, the one that is below you, will climb up to attack you. It does not get its pack tactics because you beat up its buddy. So it will get a 14 to hit against you.
yeah, that hits.
Okay. And you will take 4 points of piercing damage.
Okay.
Lady Yael gets one against her. Ooh, that's going to be an 18 to hit, which hits. Okay, and then Hefzibah gets 2 against you. So they both get so they'll get advantage on their roll from their pack tactics. So it's going to be a 13 against you, but that glances off your mage armor for the first one, and then a 30-20 against you, which hits for 3 points of piercing damage. Jacob, you are safe for the moment. Zoe, you're flanked as well, so they're going to be pack tacticing you as well with advantage. That's going to be a natural 20, which is a critical hit against you for the first hit, which is going to do 8 points of piercing damage to you. And then the second one is going to be a 12 to hit, which misses, glancing off of your armor. And then finally, Eric, the one that's, that you didn't radiant punch, comes up to harry at your heels and legs and hindquarters. attacking you not with advantage, with a normal hit, which is a 13 to hit, which will do 6 points of piercing damage.
Reduced to 3.
All of these that sunk their flesh into you, you can see as this knoll, this strange demonic knoll, comes jumping down from the perch, begins like chanting some kind of weird spell, and all the gnolls that had sunk, their blood and teeth, blood on their teeth dripping from that nasty taste, their bodies begin to contort as their spines become longer, their heads become more pushed forwards, their arms and shoulders kind of pop into a irregular way as they transform into nothing other than gnolls themselves. And so that's going to be a gnoll on a gnollian. That's going to be you. And then on EAL. And then Hefzibah got hit by 1. Yeah. You're not nothing. So that's just, you know.
This just went from bad to worse.
And Eric also got hit. Yeah. So there are now 5 gnolls and 1 hyena now that are on you all. So each of you will have a gnoll on you, except for Hefzibah. You have the other hyena, which is still like that was glanced off of your mage armor. And lastly, which of Hefzibah, Zoe, and Eric would you feel would be closer to the top of the chain link, having progressed down it less?
I don't remember.
I think Hefzibah was one of the last to go over. I don't know for sure though, so I don't remember.
Do you volunteer to be on the top?
Sure.
All right, Hefzibah, this sinister demonic gnoll with the glowing red eyes and the hooked demon claw in its hand jumps down next to you. It lands gracefully. You're not any regular folks. You are here with a purpose. Let me find that out then. And reaches for you, grabbing you by the collar of your cloak, using a grapple attack against you.
As a reaction, silvery barbs sort of appear around me, and they grab towards those. You need to re-roll. Oh, you haven't rolled yet. Never mind. Roll first. I just read what the spell did.
Yeah. So it's going to be a 20 against your AC. So you're making me roll that with silvery barbs. Which is going to be a 14 against your AC.
Which matches it.
It still hits. Grabs you by your cloak, pulls you up, and begins to like push the large gnoll, like the large hyena nose, sniffing as this gnoll casts a spell upon you. You can make a wisdom saving throw, please, as you are grappled.
That's a 9. Can I use one of those coin thingies to re-roll, please?
That would be 3 to re-roll.
Wait, what are my other options again?
1 is advantage.
Can I roll with advantage then instead?
Technically, you're supposed to call that before you roll.
Oh, okay.
But you can spend
If
3
we're
to
being
re-roll.
consistent, yeah.
I'll just spend 3 to re-roll then.
Okay.
Why isn't it re-rolling? There we go. Natural 20.
Nice.
That's totally worth it.
This gnoll sniffs you. A sword you seek. But you hide it from me. Very well. And then drops you back down onto the chain link, not to the ground below that she was holding you up over moments ago. And then she grabs onto the chain link and swings herself back up to a vantage about 20 feet away above you, which does give you an opportunity to attack Hefzibah if you wish with a melee attack, if you want to strike at this knoll.
Sure. What have I got that's melee? And yes, I know I should know this, but I don't. So I'm just gonna stab at her with my dagger.
Mm-hmm. Give me that attack roll then.
That is a dirty 20 for 5
Nice.
piercing damage.
A little cackle as like this glancing blow means nothing to this sadistic knoll. As she flees, not flees, it kind of retreats a little bit, perching, almost like curious and intent on watching how this unfolds. Kind of just like squatting, looking down, holding that strange looking sickle of a demon's claw in her hands. That'll bring us then to Hephzibah. Oh, yeah, Hephzibah, it is your turn. You are flanked by a knoll
Okay.
and a hyena.
I think I will cast something here. I'll cast Wither and Bloom. So she kind of reaches out towards the knolls around her. Now, this is a 10-foot sphere. So can I catch anybody else's knoll in it?
Ooh, let's say yes. You can catch one of Zoe's knolls in it.
Okay, they all need to make Constitution saving throws.
Okay.
And any non-magical vegetation on the chain with us withers.
There is no such vegetation
I
like
didn't
that,
think so.
unless there's any like inside your pockets and pouches. Like, oh, my salad got wilted.
No.
My lunch. So that's the con saving throw for 3 targets. Okay, so there's 2 knolls and a hyena. Okay, the hyena gets a 6, and the 2
Aw.
knolls, 17 and a 19.
Okay, so the knolls pass, but the hyena, oh, and the hyena takes 8 damage, and the knolls take 4 apiece. And you, Zoe, or it didn't say that I can choose me, but I will choose me actually. I can spend 1 hit die to regain a number of hit points equal to that roll. So I think I will pick me and not Zoe. Sorry, Zoe. And do that. You guys ready to jump?
Jacob, it is your turn. You are spared having gnashing, ferocious knolls next to you. Though you look up and you look down, and your allies in both directions here are being flanked by these massive humanoid hyenas that they've barely been given any kind of sentience, but all the malice that intelligence brings, as they seem hungry to rip and tear. What do you do here?
So Aeolian is by me now, like close to me,
Mhm.
but he's got one on
Yeah,
him as
within
well.
like an arm's reach of you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think just muttering under his breath, he's like, "What in the hells has happened to us?" As he's looking at Aeolian's flame, his blade that just appeared in his hand, but not thinking twice, he's going to. Is there still 2 on both Hephzibah and Zoe?
Yeah, no. So there's 1 knoll on Hephzibah because the withering
Oh, yes,
blade
yes.
killed off the hyena.
But 2
and
on
Zoe
Zoe.
has a knoll and a hyena on her.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is that blade that's in my hand, that wicked looking blade, I am going to throw it at the knoll on Zoe, as long as that's within 60 feet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's what I'm going to do as my attack. 14.
14 is not enough. As the hide of these creatures seems to be much more thickened,
Okay.
almost like enhanced with some kind of vile magic.
Now you said we could do with both hands. Like I can use the bonus action to, with my other hand, throw another one.
Mhm.
But it's still at disadvantage. Is that right?
No, because like I can imagine you can like probably switch hands pretty easy. Just anything that takes two of your hands at the same time
Oh, okay.
would be disadvantaged, like a great axe or something.
Okay, so as a bonus action, I will throw another one that
Mhm.
appears in my other hand. It's got a different damage, but oh, 22.
Nice, that hits.
Okay, so this one is doing 5 points of psychic damage.
You get sneak attack because it's within melee of Zoe, your ally.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. For sure, the soul knife gives you sneak attack.
So then 5 more points of sneak attack
Nice.
damage.
So
So
that's
5
10
psychic, 5
Yeah,
regular.
10 psychic. All right.
Oh, yeah.
That bloodies the hyena on you, Zoe. Not hyena, the knoll on you. As this psychic blade of infernal torment comes stabbing into it, and it yips and growls in some fiendish language. That was your action and bonus action. Anything else in your turn, Jacob?
No, I think at this moment, I think I want to stay by Aeolian. Better have 2 of us than try to disappear. So I think at this moment, I'm going to stay where I am.
All right. Zoe, it is your turn then. You are flanked on either side. One by a small hyena that seems eager to taste and bite into your flesh. The other one with a knoll that has been bloodied and ready to rip and tear.
Fantastic. With Zoe's hands still turning black, she is going to reach for the knoll and she's going to try and cast Inflict Wounds again. We're going to do Inflict Wounds just at first level.
All right, make that attack roll.
So let's do this. 12. I don't think that's going to hit.
Nope, 12 does not hit.
Nope. You know, trying to do this is really hard.
Try
for my
something
bonus-
else.
For my bonus action, I would like to cast where is it? There it is. Ooh. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. I don't think I can do that. I'm trying to hold on. So never mind that. That is all I can do.
All right, then. Eric, it is your turn. As you finish dealing off with one of those hyenas, the one behind you had transformed into a massive knoll that towers over you in height now and threatens to rip and tear you apart with claw and fang. What do you want to do?
First, I need to know, do I have any of my allies that are within 10 feet, or have they all moved to different chain links?
You'd get to pick one of your allies here. This one 10 feet. That's about it.
Can I move in a
I think-
position where they're not within 10 feet of me?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, you just swing onto the other side of the chain link to distance yourself from your allies.
But I can still engage with this now.
Mhm, mhm,
Okay, perfect.
mhm.
Because as I do that, there's a pulse in my eyes where they're always glowing with that white energy, but it flares. And my entire body emits a burst of light, and I am now glowing with bright light as I activate my celestial revelation. And I am using my radiant consumption as I attack. That was a bonus action. I am going to while holding on to the chain, I'm going to sort of lean. Well, no, I wouldn't do that because my leg's bad. I'm going to pivot around and just bring that fist around again at this at this null. And that is in shadow. I can't see it, ironically. I can't do a radiant consumption and then go out like that. I'm gonna spend 3 of these. I never get to spend domain tomes or domain things, so I'm gonna spend them
Soul
to
coins.
re-roll that. And because I rolled a 7. There we go. I'm gonna try rolling digitally and see if that does any better. As I throw the die, throwing my punch. It did better by 1. It's a 13 to hit.
13 is not enough. Instead,
Um,
I imagine like that your punch is just caught in the hand of this knoll, and you feel the claws digging into your hand, just as it just bats it aside.
As he does so, there's a burst of that radiant consumption energy at the end of my turn, and he takes 2 radiant damage.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the end of your turn then.
Let me make sure that okay, I'll double check on the duration on this, but oh, it's 1 minute. Okay. Perfect. Yes, that is the end of my turn.
All right. Aeolian, it is your turn. You have a knoll advancing upon you from underneath.
Did it attack?
It had attacked you and bit you, and it tasted your flesh, the hyena, and it transformed into a monstrous knoll.
And Jacob is right
Right
nearby?
next to you. Yeah,
Right
within
next to
hand's
me?
reach. Mhm.
Okay. I look at this knoll that's advancing on me and just kind of scoff. By the gods, I hope the midwife gave your folks a refund. And I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery.
So that's a wisdom save from this knoll?
Yes, that is a wisdom 14.
Oh, got a total of 3.
Okay. So it's going to take 1d4 psychic damage. That is 2 psychic damage.
Nice.
And it has disadvantage on its next attack roll before its next turn. And then I kind of just peek over my shoulder. I look at Jacob, you're doing really good. Really good. Keep it up. And I will give a Bardic Inspiration die to Jacob. It's my bonus action.
I love the juxtaposition of the vicious mockery followed by uplifting words of praise to your ally.
You're glad I didn't get. You better be glad I didn't mix these 2 up.
Right. And I will just
vicious inspiration.
Right.
Vicious mockery on your ally and bardic inspiration onto your foe.
And then I will just stand ready, kind of back to Jacob. Then, and that'll be my turn.
All right, awesome. The gnolls advanced. We'll see how Yael can do against hers. Fending it off. Ooh, was able to strike a deep blow with her longsword, dealing with some damage. Now the gnolls will strike out. Okay, so starting with you, Aeolian, the one that has a disadvantage against you. This is going to be a 10 to hit you, which misses, I imagine, thanks to your disadvantage.
I think I just kind of like dodge, kind of like bullet time, lean out of the way as I laugh.
Just like slash bite. And then against Lady Yael, 14, which gets fenced, parried aside. All right, Hephzibah. This one gnoll slashes and bites and tries to rake you, just ripping at you. We'll get a 22 to hit for 4 points of slashing damage. And then we go to, so Jacob, you're safe for now. You're unhindered in melee. Zoe of a gnoll on you as well. It'll be it's going to be a 13 to hit, which glances aside against your armor. And then we have the hyena that's on your flank as well with pack tactics. That gets a 18 to hit, which shall do 6 points of piercing damage with a bite.
Oh, great. She's just like, ah, son of a.
And then lastly, Eric, the one that caught your hand and then caught your radiant blast, uses that moment in deflecting your attack to strike at you with a vicious bite, getting a natural 20 against you,
Oh.
a critical hit, which will deal 14 points of piercing damage straight to the neck.
Reduced to 7. My raging. The cords in my neck are thick, but not thick enough to stop them.
Imagine you're probably your hands like holding this knoll back
Yeah.
just from like it's just like the struggle here. As the sinister knoll with the glowing red eyes perched above looks on in enjoyment, enthusiasm of this bloodbath happening below her. Go to you, Hephzibah. What do you want to do?
She is going to point at the knoll that's in front of her, and you hear this bell ring, and the knoll now needs to make a wisdom saving throw, as I told it.
Gets a total of 3 on the wisdom save.
And it's missing some hit points, I know,
It
because I
is.
took 4 of them. So it takes 2 points of damage, because that's the way my night's going.
All right. Anything else with your turn?
That is it.
All right. Jacob, it is your turn. You'd witnessed Eric taking that critical hit above you. Hephzibah dealing with a knoll in melee. Zoe getting flanked by the hyena. The hyena, excuse me, took a bite of you, Zoe, and also transforms into a knoll.
Yeah, so I now
As
see
well,
2 knolls on
now
on
2
Zoe.
knolls on Zoe. Mhm.
Okay, so I again manifest one of these wicked looking blades and throw it at the knoll on Zoe, the one that I tried to throw it before.
Yeah, the bloodied one. Mhm.
Yep.
Give me that attack roll then.
Here. Oh, that's not good.
Mhm.
It's 7 to hit. As a bonus action, we will throw in with the other hand.
Wait, don't you have Bardic Inspiration?
There's a d6 you can add to your roll,
Yep.
right? Yeah. If
Wouldn't
it's too
hit.
low, then maybe you don't want to use it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, never
But
mind.
but not only do you have the bardic inspiration with a soul knife, as long as somebody is within melee range, you get advantage on the attack, don't you?
Not advantage, no. It just allows your sneak attack.
Okay.
The allowing advantage, I think, is like an 11th level feature.
So the second one, I got a 16.
Nice, that'll hit.
Okay, so that one will hit, and we will do, I didn't see that, 5 points of psychic damage, and my sneak, which is, another 8. So 13
This is enough
points.
to slay this knoll that is on Zoe. You can go ahead and describe it. What does this soul knife spectral blade look like? How does it dispatch this knoll?
So this blade, it's wicked looking, but it also doesn't seem very real. Like it feels somewhat ethereal as it's flying through, and it hits this creature, and as it does, it like actually hits the knoll's head and sinks right into it, and you actually visually see the fact that it melds into the knoll's brain, and disappears, and then the eyes of the knoll, they go wide, and it shrieks in pain as its ears and eyes start to bleed out, and it dies.
And it clutches at its head to try to stop the agony, and stumbles back and falls over the edge of the chain link, falling down to a grisly fate below. Zoe, it is your turn. You're now no longer flanked by these pair of gnolls now. Just the one newly transformed is at you right now. It bares its teeth. It unhooks its claws, ready to pounce upon you, either to tackle you down onto the ground below or to rip you in half. What do you want to do?
That's just, that's
Yeah.
just fantastic.
Multiple choice question. Yeah.
Oh, this is bad. I can climb up and get on the chain, right? So I can like stand on it, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah.
I
If
think-
you move if you move more than 5 feet, however, you will provoke attack of opportunity.
Oh yeah, no, she just wants to get up onto the chain. She doesn't want to move away or anything. She just wants to get up.
You can move like vertically half your speed without issue as a move action.
Yep, that's what she's gonna do. She's gonna move up so she can actually get up and stand up and pull out her mace and shield, and we're gonna roll that to hit the gnoll.
Get bonking.
I'm gonna bonk. We'll see if my dice let me bonk. That's a 17.
That is enough to hit, yes.
Yes. And that is 7 damage.
A solid strike of your mace comes down, smashing into the fur and muscle of this disgusting creature.
That's how you inflict wounds.
That is how you inflict wounds.
And then as a bonus action, I am going to healing word. How bad is Eric and Hephzibah?
I'm down 4 points because I did heal earlier.
I mean, it probably looks worse than it is. I got bit in the neck.
Yeah.
I'm bleeding a lot. You might say I'm almost bloodied.
Almost bloodied. She's gonna healing word Eric then. It's just gonna be like, hey buddy, here you go. Frink. And that will be 8 hit points to you.
Nice.
And that's it. I'm
Bolstered by the healing life magic of Zoe. What do you do here, Eric, as you're locked in melee, hand and claw? With this gnoll that seems to be your equal.
So the gnoll had basically tried and succeeded on biting my neck as I was sort of using my strength to push away from it. And I'm just going to grab hold of it. And with all my force, I'm going to use my attack to try to push it off the chain.
Ooh, this is going to be a shove.
I'm going to do a shove.
So roll that attack roll, an unarmed strike.
Which is... instead of making a attack roll, you make a strength athletics check against theirs. I'm just checking. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to make sure because I'm raging. I have advantage on that.
Yeah, you'll have advantage on the roll from your rage. Yeah.
All right. As I shove away at it, that is. Oh, thank goodness for advantage. I have my athletics is a +5, so that is a 23 on the strength check.
Well, if you cut that number in half, is what the gnoll gets. I think it's a 13. Not quite half, but almost. You shove the gnoll. It is unable to keep its balance as you just ram into it, shoulder checking perhaps. There's knocking it off balance. As it steps back for balance, there's nothing below its feet to catch it. As you can hear the sounds of those toe claws scraping against the metal as the back foot tries to catch on, but it's not enough. Leans back and falls down to a grisly fate below, 500 feet down.
Is there another gnoll that I can move to get within 10 feet of it?
Yes, if you climb up 15 feet using your movement, you can be within 10 feet of the one that's on Zoe right now.
Since Zoe just healed me and I took care of this one, I think I would do that then. I would absolutely climb upwards to get up there towards it. And at the end of my turn, it will take 2 points of radiant damage.
2 points.
I just imagine
Alright.
this radiant consumption is just sort of that continuous glow. Just every 6 seconds, it's just going, and anybody within 10 feet of me is going to get 2 points of radiant. You're going to get burnt.
All right, go then to the top with Aeolian. You are in melee, side to side with Jacob, where a gnoll from beneath. You've been trying to, stop its attacks using your vicious mockeries, but it seems persistent to grab you by these hooked claws and either rip off your leg and beat you with it, or to grab you and toss you off the chains. What do you want to do?
Okay, I am going to once again roll on the Tales from Beyond table. I rolled a 6. So again, I reached down and I just grabbed that skull around my neck. Let's see here. Ooh, okay. It's not going to do a whole lot there, so okay. I'm going to hold on to that, and I am just going to exactly how I want to do this here. How far away is this knoll? It's directly engaged with me, right?
Yeah.
So,
it's like 5 feet below you. Yeah, it's like grabbing at your leg.
Okay. Yep, then I'm just going to stab at it with my Ikowa. I'm going to roll that with advantage.
Ooh, that'll take one soul coin away.
That is a nat 20.
Nice. That's a critical hit.
That is a 16 max damage plus roll it again. That is a 23 total damage.
23
just kind of
damage.
stab at this thing, kind of two-handed, just stabbing down at it.
This is enough to end this knoll. Go ahead and describe it for me, how you dispatch this knoll beneath you 5 feet.
So I think I just stab down and the blade just sinks into its neck, and there's kind of like a pause as it like exhales, and then it kind of goes limp, and I feel it kind of pull at me as it falls away from the chain, and I kind of have to brace myself, and then I yank back on my Ikowa, and I just kind of stare at it as its lifeless eyes are looking back up at me as it just kind of Hans Gruber's on down into the waste below.
Yeah, there's a Wilhelm scream.
And yeah, that's going to be my turn. So I use my bonus action to roll the other one. So, yep.
All right. Brings us to the top where there is the knoll on Yael, and Yael's turn. She will strike at the knoll, defending herself. She gets a 15 to hit, which is enough to hit, dealing 5 damage, which bloodies the knoll. The knoll will retaliate against her, dealing a severe wound to her. It's going to be 9 points of damage she takes. And then Hefzibah, you will be attacked by the knoll that's on you. That's going to be a 19 to hit you, which is going to deal you 7 points of slashing damage from claw attacks of this knoll. And then Zoe, the bloodied one that's on you that you just bonked, will try to strike out at you, getting a natural 20, a critical hit.
Yay!
When it threatened to rip you apart, it really meant it.
It meant it.
So that's going to be 8, 12, can be 14 slashing damage to you.
Hold on 1 second.
Ooh.
Hold on a second
Ooh.
here. I didn't cast a spell the last time, did I?
No, you
I did
stabbed.
not.
Well, you did the bonus action of your guitar thing.
Tales from Beyond.
Yeah, your
Right,
Tales
but
of
that's
Beyond
not a
That's not a
cast.
spell,
So
it's not
a
I
spell.
can
Mhm.
I can use my reaction to cast a spell then, since I have
Mhm.
not.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna cast I just yell, oh, I don't think so. And I'm gonna cast Silvery Barbs. And you'll
So
have
can
to
you re-roll that
re-roll
crit?
that attack. Yes.
All right. It turns that critical hit into a 9 to hit, sparing you from a grisly critical hit fate. And then, of course, there is that demon-eyed knoll looking down from above, grinning, almost like salivating from the carnage happening. Doesn't seem to be at all upset by how you've dispatched her gnolls. Instead, almost eager to just witness how you fight and what you do. Hephzibah, it is your turn. You have a gnoll on you that dealt you a vicious wound with its claws. What do you want to do?
Are there other gnolls within 10 feet of me?
This
in
is
a
the
10
only
feet?
one.
This is
This
the
is the
only
only
one?
one that is. The other one's a
Okay.
bit too far away. I mean, you can try to move and sidle away, but that'll provoke an attack of opportunity
Yeah.
to capture them.
Okay, then she glares at the one that's on her and attempts to toll the dead again.
Mhm.
So this bonging noise comes out again, and they need to make a wisdom save.
Perfect. That's going to be an 18
That's
from this
safe.
gnoll. It seems this gnoll's intent on making you toll for the dead instead.
Yay, that's awesome. So happy about that.
Jacob, it is your turn.
Seeing that Eric has gone to help Zoe, my attention has turned to Hephzibah, and seeing that nasty hit, I will throw at that gnoll this time, and we will try to do better. I am going to use my bardic inspiration to roll a d6. I don't know how to do that. Go down here, d6.
A
roll
funny
it?
sentence. I have to roll a d6. I don't know how.
Did it roll? I clicked it. I don't know if I didn't see it pop up.
In the left,
Yeah.
you have to, once you select it, you have to click roll.
14.
So 14 total?
Yeah, I got a 1 on the
That's
d6.
not enough.
Okay. Bonus action, throw with the other hand. Apparently I am not right-handed, I am left-handed, because the left one always hits. That's a 17 to hit.
Yeah, 17 hits.
For 5 psychic plus. Some rolls are bad. So 10 in total damage.
10 total. This bloodies the gnoll that is on you, Hephzibah, as a well-placed spectral blade stabs into it, conjured up by Jacob. That'll be your turn then?
Yes.
Because that was your
yeah.
action bonus. Okay. Zoe, you are in melee with your mace at the ready against a gnoll that was ready to critical hit you, but saved at the last moment by the wily magics of the bard below you. What do you want to do?
I see Eric come up to me too, right?
Yes.
Okay. Is Eric flanking?
Not really. It's hard to
Okay.
quite flank in this kind of
That's
area.
what I wanted to be
He's
sure
still
of.
just within 10 feet.
Okay. We're just gonna try and bonk and nab again.
All right, make that attack roll.
That is a whole 8. So I know that doesn't.
It will not hit.
But as a bonus action, she is going to cast healing word at 2nd level. And we are going to healing word Hephzibah.
Thank you.
For 11 hit points.
I am at full again.
All right.
And that's it.
Eric, we go to you. You've climbed up to capture the knoll that's on Zoe and your radiant aura. If you can just you can finish the movement up to it in melee really easily on this turn.
Yeah.
You can have your turn.
Yeah, especially seeing that Zoe's struggling to hit consistently on these things. I'm going to move a little hastily. I'm going to attack recklessly as I run in on this thing. So reckless attack makes that a dirty 20 to hit.
Yeah, roll that damage.
And that's going to be D8 plus 3 for the fist. And then I'm going to throw some divine fury into that. An extra D6. So that's 7. The divine fury is 1D6 plus 1. So 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 2 for raging is 12. And then a pulse of radiant energy for 2 more radiant on top of that.
It is the 2 more damage at the end of your turn that is enough to dispatch this last knoll. However, it'll also hit Zoe because it doesn't discern friend from foe, does it?
No, it does not.
All right. Zoe will take those 2 points of damage. So imagine just this staggering blow, right? You just knock it right up the chin, reels back, and he shakes its head to recenter itself. And the radiant blast knocks it off the edge to a grisly fate below. All right. Aeolian, it is your turn. There's only 2 knolls that stand here still, besides the knoll that the Demon Knight knoll way up above. The 2 knolls that are in combat are one on Lady Yael, who's bloodied. Sorry, the knoll is bloodied, I should say. And the knoll that's on Hephzibah, who's also bloodied.
Okay. How close am I to each of them at this point? So,
within a move to each of them.
Okay. Are either of the knolls on my side?
Yes. Yeah.
Both
That would
of them
be.
are-
Yeah, all both of them are visible.
Okay. So I'm going to move within 10 feet of the knoll next to Hephzibah. But leaving Hephzibah outside of 10 feet. And I spin my lute around my back and I catch it and I kind of catch, make eye contact with Hephzibah and just say, "Let's rock." And I strum a chord and I cast Thunder Wave at the knoll. It is going to have to make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw.
It's a total of 8 fails.
All right, then it's going to take 2d8 damage and be pushed 10 feet. That's 15 points of damage.
It not only would it be dispatched from the thunder damage, but also being pushed 10 feet would also just completely knock it off the chain to fall down below. As this, you just blasted with this tidal wave of sonic energy, just this blast strumming from your lute. The knoll falls, incapacitated down to the hellish land below.
I kind of look at Hephzibah. Holy shit! And then
She looks just as startled as you do. Like, what? Oh, hi.
is anybody in our group still damaged at this point? Jacob, Zoe, do either of them look more damaged, like heavily damaged, or just sort of damaged? Either one of you can answer. So
yeah, I'm looking pretty bloodied as it is.
Okay, I'm going to cast then as my bonus action. I'm going to cast Healing Word. And oops, that's not what I wanted to do. All right, and that's going to be 5 points of healing for you.
Thank you, thank you.
And then I will start to, well, not because I already moved. That'll be my turn then. So.
All right, then we go down to Lady Yale, and she gets a critical hit against the knoll that she's been fighting against. It seems to like rear up for an attack, and just out of nowhere, the elven grace of a warrior just launches forward with the sword, and the tip you see protrudes out the back of the knoll, making it pause for a moment, and then the sword withdraws, clutching, falls back down, dead off the chain link. And there you stand, the six of you, as the knoll above you kind of growls with a bit of, not malice, not anger, but almost amusement. The knoll points a finger to the horizon. If you want her sword, you'll have to race her for it. And you can see where the knoll is pointing. And it's pointing to a massive dust cloud on the horizon. We're at the head of this dust cloud that is being stirred up by a racing devil legion on the back of infernal war machines, is a flaming angel. We will meet again, I imagine. I too, like you, do not wish for her to have her sword. I am Leashandra, a name not befitting for the form I have, this blessed body of Yinogu. Elturel will not be hers. I'll be sure of it, as it is that Yinogu wills. And immediately will jump out from this springed position back into the tunnels of that hang out below Elturel, which gives you a bit of a pause here as you realize that there's no more dire emergency beyond the reinforcements of that devil legion coming on the horizon. And Hephzibah, as she leaves this, Leashandra, this name of this knoll, you still can't shake the sense that you've been marked some way, some kind of, it's like a you can't get that touch where that knoll or that demon knoll touched you on the chest. Like it still feels like she's still gripping you near the throat, as if it's constricting your airways ever still. That feeling doesn't shake, as if she has some kind of hold on you. But maybe it's just that trauma of having such a powerful, monstrous creature up close, able to bite your head off in one go if it really wanted to, and living to tell the tale.
That's what Hepzibah put it down to anyway. That it was that, you know, she's rubbing her neck and looking after the knoll at you know, looking at the entrance to the tunnels with confusion. If this being was on our side, why did they send these gnolls after us? That makes no sense. But yeah.
I'm not looking for anything to make sense, especially the further down we go.
Perhaps it was a test. She's looking for allies. Perhaps we were tested for worthiness. That would make a good story.
Or she was just playing with us like a cat does with a mouse.
I felt more like the cat and mouse.
We'll just have to prove we're feistier.
Well,
Whatever it is, we should hurry because we need to get down and on our way.
yeah, it's not getting any, well, I mean, it is getting closer. That's the problem. The time is ticking. So let's, and she starts sort of climbing.
Yeah, Eric does the same. You would see sort of in the aftermath of this fight that sort of after that last pulse, just the glow sort of subsides and just the regular glowing of the eyes. And I'm back to moving a little slow and favoring that left leg a little bit, but both continuing to, I guess, climb down and help others as well.
And as the six of you descend, you come to realize as it draws closer and closer and closer, there is a war going on directly below you. You see the slashings of blades, the whipping of hellfire, the gnashing of claws and teeth of massive demonic beasts, bubbling up from the muck and charging at them with just raw force. How can you get through this without getting smashed to a bloodied pulp? That dread is looming over all of you. Lady Yell, however, will just punctuate it with, we have to get out of here. We need to find that sword. It's what I was meant to do. I made a promise, I remember. She said the name Yinogu. I remember that face of that beast. These are its hordes. As she gestures to the massive beasts and demons that are crawling out of the River Styx and across from that savannah on the other side of it. This is a war fought a lifetime ago that still stands to this day.
But they neither should win. I mean, it looks like there's demons on one side and devils on the other. What kind of choice is that?
Well, as it is. But you see the reinforcements coming. I know that your eyes are as sharp as mine. That'll turn the tide. That will spell doom for Elturel. She looks up. Seems the only thing keeping that town safe, our town, our city, is the fact that the war is so distracting down here and no head nor tail can be gained. I fear if ever any one side of this war wins over the other, Elturel will be lost.
Then we should hurry.
And so
Should
then,
we get this sword then? Because if the sword remains out of play completely, then they are sort of evenly matched.
The sword is to sever the chains of Elturel so that it is no longer damned.
Okay. That will do it, right? Just severing the chains? It won't take more than that to undam it, to get it back up to, the real world?
Jacob just looks at Zoe.
Zoe's just smiling. We're here to
imagine
find
there's
out.
Imagine there's like a sharing of glances as none of you are educated enough on the metaphysics of the multiverse to really answer that kind of question.
Damn it, I knew I should have taken multiverses as an elective.
You're one of the the study types. You like that. Oof.
Well, it would have been useful.
Probably, but it's okay. We'll find our way. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. My Uncle Sam, just think positive. We'll be fine.
I really think it's probably best that we keep moving this. And I just kind of look at the chain that we're still standing on. This is not probably not the best
I
place to
assumed
stand
we
and
were
talk.
moving.
Yeah, I assumed we were all
was
kind
gonna
of
say,
talking while we
we-
were climbing.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm used to my Monday night group standing around talking all the time. So
And I think every now and then the conversation is punctuated with a big like lurching moment as like the chain gets winched down another chunk.
Is there a steady rhythm to it that we can sort of compensate for, or?
No, not really. Though I guess with keen eyes and the time, you can see that there's big, tall towers that are stationed where these chains are coming from, and every now and then you can see like these towers literally like being reclaimed by like devil legions, and that will like lead to like a chain winching happening, and then like a giant tentacled thing will come out of the River Styx, with like this mangy fur of a Yenogu demon, and like come and destroy whatever platoon was stationed there, and then that'll kind of stop the winching for a bit, and the kind of just back and forth happens constantly as the tide of the battle is ever in flux, but also in this weird steady state of a stalemate.
Are we making any progress on the way down? Like,
Mhm.
because we're way up.
So I imagine as you climb down, the reality of having to figure out how to navigate this war front below you becomes the thing you have to think about now. As I pass the question to you and to your characters, what do you do as you realize that there's just a war going on directly below you? You see that to go to that fist-shaped, those knuckled mountains in the distance that Yael had pointed out earlier, you'd have to cross through this war zone, headed away from the River Styx, to get to that barren expanse of hell that waits beyond.
I don't suppose any of you can transform into magical flying animals that could take us somewhere. No, you just said.
I could transform into a magical flying creature. I would not be climbing this blessed chain.
I was about to say, turning into an animal would be really cool, though.
As I
It
look
feels
up,
like
as
we've been
your hoof nearly steps on my hand. Yeah, real cool.
It feels like we've been climbing down this for hours.
We probably have.
The devil troops, are they wearing any particular like armor or anything, or are they all like
They are wearing armor. They are wearing. It seems to be some kind of motif going on. They all wear like this like black iron armor that covers their heads with this tall like spike on the top that makes room for the various horns or spines they might have, or their body, or the wings that sprout from their back and the tail. But this kind of like similar outfitted black iron armor it seems to be forged the same way as if it was forged en masse by some hellfire forge somewhere beyond. It is studded with these spikes and these glowing infernal runes that betray some kind of magical enchantments, bolstering magics that have made them even more sturdy against the gnawing teeth and slashes and bites of the demon horde advancing from the wasteland savannah across the River Styx.
And on the devil's side, are there any creatures that might be like smaller like more human size?
On the demon side, you mean, or the devil side?
On the devil side, the one
Devil
that's,
side.
yeah.
You'll see there is the you can see, you can recognize a lot of the same devils that were on top of El Terrell, the ones that were purplish and spined and winged that kind of flank and give an aerial advantage. The ones that had the long like tentacle, like prehensile tentacle beards that are spiked, and they kind of stand rank and file with halberds at the ready. There are some that are covered head to toe in spikes or this green scales. All of these are kind of humanoid in size. And then you can see scampering tiny little things, barely the size of perhaps a cat, carrying on their backs these massive balls of hellfire trapped in a cage, kind of scamper between the legs of the combatants till they get to some vital spot behind enemy lines and explode with whatever payload they had. Little imps carrying massive bombs to try to weaken the foe from enemy lines. And at the command of it all is a massive pit fiend, this ice blue in color, wielding a massive standard that she uses to command the ranks of hell in this war. She stands on a massive boulder overlooking the war, never getting into the melee itself until like a flying demon comes close, and she just snatches up with a big hand and just crushes it in half and smashes into the ground and stomps on it, while all the time bellowing an infernal many commands.
What if once we're down there, we take some armor off one of the dead devils and pretend to be their troops? We might have an easier way of getting through and past.
I have some experience pretending to be something that I'm not. So
That will be useful. I think that might be our only way, is to hide amongst them as we try to pass through them. Unless someone else has an idea.
typically, I would assume it's mostly chaos on a battlefield like that. Perhaps that will make it easier to sneak by while disguised.
The battle is certain to be chaos. That's probably going to be our only advantage.
Won't we be kind of obvious coming down from above where they can all see us?
Yale chimes in. They seem to be so preoccupied with this war. It's like they're intently focused on it. I can imagine us slipping in a bit unnoticed. There's just too much chaos.
Okay. Well, regardless, I think we should stay away from the pit queen.
Well, yeah. We could barely handle those things. The hyena creatures on the chain. I'd hate to see what something like that would do to us.
So the plan then is to sneak down, grab some discarded armor, don it on, and use that as a disguise to make your way through the battlefield against the tide of the war.
Ideally, if we can find some dead devils or demons and grab their armor.
It's a great plan. I can't see what could go wrong.
Yeah, the dead litter this plains and the banks of this river Styx in plenty, which gives many opportunities for armor, though it's not full armor. just some helmets and some pauldrons they can use, but it might be enough, especially with how distracting the war is. So this will be a multi-stage group skill challenge. The first one will be a group stealth check to make
So-
it down the remaining chain link onto the battlefield itself without being noticed.
While we're doing that, can I ask, have I gotten a good look at the beings in this armor? Like, would I have seen them? Seen some without helmets, seen bodies without armor, to where I would have a good idea of what they actually look like. Okay.
Yep. So there'll be a group stealth roll. Everyone roll stealth, please. And Lady Yale will roll as well.
Guidance for everybody
I need to re-roll.
for that extra D4.
Is
Yeah.
guidance concentration?
No, yes, guidance
can
is
we-
concentration.
You can only do one guidance then for this. You got to pick someone for one guidance.
Okay. I will pick. Oh no, this is hard. I'm not gonna do myself. I will do I'll do Hepzibah. I will do Hepzibah.
Can I use the guidance? Wait, is this the only one she gets for all of our group checks?
Mhm. Because as
Okay.
soon as you give guidance to one person, so if you give guidance to a second person, the first one fades because it's a concentration spell. So you only
Right.
get one guidance that you can dole out for this.
I'm gonna use it anyway. It was a D4, you said?
Mhm.
I rolled a nat 20.
Half of you passed and half of you failed, which means the group succeeds. As you're able to cover each other's weaknesses, cover each other's blunders to make it down to the base of the chain link. You see that you actually can get a bit of seclusion here. It's in one of these dock towers that are winching the chain down. You slip inside into these massive basalt walls, and inside are just corpses of like smushed, because like the wall has come caving in at some point from a massive blow of a massive demon that is like just crushed and obliterated some of these devils that were stationed here, but there's enough of it remaining. You can like pry a helmet off of one and some pauldrons off the other to barely outfit yourself in a mockery of the devil infantry armor. And this will be a deception roll done for the whole group to mimic the appearance of a devil infantry. If you have access to a disguise kit or illusion magic or something, this will be made with advantage.
So I start picking up these various pieces of armor. And I kind of walk to the center of the group and I say, well, I don't typically do this in front of others, but I have a feeling secrets won't do us much good here. And as you watch, I kind of start to, like, my skin starts to kind of ripple. And like maybe there's like a bulge coming out of my neck and my arms start to move and bend. And you see I transform from my current humanoid form into a recreation of a bipedal devil that's now wearing my clothes. And then I don the armor, and I can take lead. I think I'll pass.
I can go beside you because I, for some reason, understand these creatures.
As do I.
I had a semester of Infernal and Abyssal, so I could probably understand either side.
The two of you that understand Infernal will be able to hear out the commands. You're able to deduce that this pit fiend, this commander, wielding the standard. Her name is Lucilla. And you're able to hear things like, capture the dock tower, we must secure the winch, El Terrell will be ours, and as well as like other barking commands like, that lance, go this way, secure the warfront. The left flank has been seized by the Krakatoak, come on.
I will
Move,
kind
maggots.
of turn and relay these as if I was like an NCO or something relaying commands,
Yeah,
just to kind of further the illusion.
I would totally like to be talking in this language as we're going on to hopefully help with the deception as we're doing it.
So 27 to 13 and 19. Lady AL will also roll deception. She gets a 7. I think that she is. You can see, especially you, Aeolian, she is kind of re-experiencing a nightmare, being down here on the war path of hell, being surrounded by devils, or something that's bringing her back to a terrible moment where she's shell-shocked, essentially, being here with you all, and she's not even able to keep up this masquerade much. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just one more from Zoe. Need your deception roll, or is that above? No, that's below. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 successes and 3 failures is enough to slink past. How as there's this, as you're moving about, like no one seems to be paying you any mind. Everyone's just too distracted on the war. But even then, as you try to move around, you're almost like trampled underfoot. As let's see, as a nightmare bearing a devil cavalry comes down and just tramples you, Aeolian, almost just by accident. Make a dexterity saving throw, please. As you have to duck and roll to avoid these fiery hooves of a nightmare.
It's a 13.
That will fail, as you will take 7 points of bludgeoning damage from just this, not quite able to get out of the way of the full trampling as you knocked prone from this.
As I stand up, I just kind of start whispering to myself. You can't really make out what I'm saying, but I'm going to cast Healing Word at 2nd level on myself and get some of those points back.
And as you maneuver to near the back, a devil shouts out to you, all the group of you in Infernal. Except those of you who understand Infernal is, what are you doing, Lance? Go back there. We need to secure the east flank on the Styxian side. And then as this command, like as you kind of turn to realize what's happening, this massive mouth comes like jumping, almost like a fish, like jumping out of the water. This massive creature, bigger than any animal you've seen in your entire life, probably bigger than a dragon even in size, comes down. Its giant mouth, kind of frog-like, just bloated. And as it lands, the mouth opens up, this massive maw, and comes spilling out are just legions, not even like, I guess, ranks and ranks of these Knoll warriors, much like the ones that you had dispatched up on the chains. But they're wearing this crude armor and shoddy weaponry that's made of like rusted metal and refurbished infernal weaponry that's been like kind of lashed together with like sinew and guts and gross viscera, as they come pouring out. And this massive Krokektoek is what it is called, comes up and just leans forward and chomps the platoon that includes the devil that just barked orders at you, giving you a bit of an opening to make it to the very end of the war front. And as you skirt about, trying to just avoid any kind of other altercation, you make it to the end, and you've just probably keep putting this war behind you and behind you until you're looking back. You're no longer within earshot of the war happening behind you. Yael
Wait.
kind of drops down to her knees, taking off the helmet, and her brown hair, long and beautiful, kind of just drapes down her side, and we made it. We survived.
Where at this point is the front that's the reinforcements? Like, how close do they look?
It's really hard to gauge distance from here, but
They're not
they are
here.
impending. They're not here yet. They're
Okay.
still impending.
All right.
You realize as you're trying to gauge distance, you realize that this world is entirely flat, meaning that you can see very distant things much easier than on the world you knew up in the mortal world. And only a strange haze and smog, like that of smoke in the air, obscures your vision instead of the curvature of the world.
Yes, Lady, we made it through, but this is not the time nor the place to stop. We must hurry.
I'm gonna
Yes.
kneel down next to her,
Hmm.
and I'll take just a few seconds to kind of morph back into my human form. And I reach out and I hand her my water skin. Please take a drink. We've got to keep moving.
Hephzibah also removes whatever armor she was wearing. She kind of ties it at her belt just in case we need it later, but she's not used to wearing armor and moves faster without it.
And as you kind of doff this infernal armor, because it's very heavy and almost like seems like it's like singeing your skin, it's very hot to the touch. It's not fit and almost maybe even cursed to that nothing other than a devil may wear it. There's a voice that shouts out in infernal behind you. This one-armed, spined devil. I put the picture in the chat, wielding these pauldrons and a visor that covers its eyes, like holding like a stump of an arm. I knew it, they say in infernal, which maybe you can translate. I knew it. I knew you weren't an actual lance. I will cut you down and reforce you into lemures. As it slavers with a long tongue advancing towards you. Aeolian, this thing is about 60 feet away, this barbed devil, this one-armed barbed devil that is clearly injured and bloodied. What do you want to do?
I think I am going to. No, I don't have one of those. I don't really have a whole lot else that I can do here. So I'm just going to pull out my short bow and I'm going to take a shot at it. Go ahead.
As you pull the arrow back on the bowstring, we'll go ahead and take a break.
Alrighty, we will be back in about 10 minutes. Please stick around. Thank everybody who's tuned in so far, and for all of the subs and the raids and the domain, the soul coins. Thank you all so much. Stick around. We'll be back in 10 minutes to see what happens.
And we're back. Aeolian, you're drawing back the bowstring of your bow, aiming that arrow at this limping, one-armed, barbed devil clad in infernal armor that has threatened you with butchery with these infernal weapons. These same infernal weapons, Jacob, that burn at your throat. Go ahead and make that attack roll then, Aeolian.
I am going to use a soul coin to make that an advantage as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's an 18 to hit.
That hits.
That is 7 points of piercing damage.
It is unmodified ammunition, right?
Correct. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Cool. You can see that this arrow seems slightly ineffective, not completely ineffective, but there's some kind of supernatural resilience to your mundane arrows that this devil possesses. As the arrow scrapes barely against the skin, puncturing very little into the flesh, with the one free hand snaps off the arrow and almost no wound is there.
Okay, and I will just kind of I'll relay that information to the group that it looks like that at least my arrow didn't do much damage even though I hit it. And that'll be my turn. I'll just kind of hang out with the group at this point. So
All right. The devil, with its one hand, conjures an orb of flame, a little grin, and hurls it at you, Aeolian, striking you back for trying to dare transgress against it with your puny little mortal arrow. It will make a ranged spell attack against you. It'll get a 12 to hit, which is enough for you to dodge out of the way as the flame passes harmlessly overhead, dodging it. Lady Yale will pick herself up, holding her sword at the ready, a bit shaky, seeing this devil advance towards her. But she's going to ready her action as the devil moves forward with its move, closing half of the distance, now only 30 feet away. She's going to take the dodge action to make sure that she does not take any damage here. And then that'll bring us to you, Hafsaba. The devil is 30 feet away as it menacingly strides towards you all with flame and axe at the ready.
Hepzibah slams her hand out like this, and you hear that tolling of a bell again. So he needs to make a wisdom saving throw. DC
Wisdom
13.
All right, it's going to be a 19.
Yeah, so nothing happens really.
You can tell that this creature has magical resistance that gives it advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Able to shrug off your lower level cantrips and magic.
And she kind of glares at it and moves behind the other party members since she's a little squishy.
All right, Jacob, it is your turn.
I will hurl, hopefully, and hit with 2 blades, 1 from each hand. So I'll do the first hand. 16 to hit.
16 hits, yep.
Okay. While I'm here, do the damage. Oh, yeah. 5. I keep rolling a 1 on the damage die.
Psychic damage you deal?
Yes. Okay. And then with the offhand, 17 to hit.
Yep.
And I do not get sneak on these rolls, right?
Nope,
Because there's
neither of
nobody
them.
around.
Yep.
Yeah, 7 points of damage on that one. And I will yell out in Infernal. You're looking mighty hurt there, sir. And I'm taunting him.
Nothing but a flesh wound. It will regenerate in time.
You won't have enough time.
We'll go then to you, Zoe. What do you do as this devil strides towards you?
Zoe is going to pull out her crossbow since it's not within melee range of us yet.
30 feet away.
And she's gonna go with her crossbow and try and hit it. So let's see. Do me good, dice. Oh, you didn't do me well at all. That's a whole 6. So but as a bonus action, I would like to, let me make sure it said it was a bonus action real fast. Yep. I would like to harness my divine power, and expending a use of my channel divinity, I would like to regain one of my first level spell slots.
Perfect. As you utter short prayers to renew your divine power. And Eric, it is your turn.
The only sign that I'm raging is that my glowing white eyes narrow as I tilt my head down. I'm going to maneuver myself so that I'm between Hepzibah and this creature. Drawing from my back one of the javelins as I do so. and recklessly attack, hurling a javelin at this
Ooh.
creature. That is going to be what do I get? A +5. 23 to hit. I mean,
Yep.
yeah, that's an 18. So that's going to do 1d6 plus 3. So 9 piercing damage. But that also has a touch of that divine fury. As it strikes, there's a pulse that runs the length of the javelin and into this demon where it hit, doing 5 radiant damage from the divine fury.
You can get a sense that the radiant explosion does more damage and harm to this devil than the actual wound of the javelin itself.
And then I'm going to stand my
Stings.
ground and just place my hand on the hilt of my sword, since I've already drawn and thrown a weapon. That's my turn.
All right, Aeolian. It is your turn once again.
Okay. How far away is it at this point?
30 feet away.
30 feet? Okay. Yeah, I just start in, so it would speak Infernal, correct?
It's
Okay. I just start whispering in Infernal. It's kind of a loud whispering that those around me can hear the whisper, but not necessarily make out the words. It's direct. Even those that speak Infernal can't really hear exactly what I'm saying, make out what I'm saying, but it can. And I'm going to use Dissonant Whispers. I need to make a Wisdom 14 saving throw.
right. It has advantage on the roll, so it's going to be a 14 exactly. So it passes.
Okay. So it's going to take half of 3d6 damage. So that's going to be 6 damage. Rolled an 11, so round it up to 6.
This is psychic damage.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's it. Yeah, that is my turn. So.
You mortals masquerading as devils, you are nothing but you are weak and pathetic. It will be a mercy to cut you down, and it will be my pleasure. As it charges at you now, the distance closing. Of course, Eric, you have interposed yourself in between it and the rest of your groups. It'll charge at you. It'll throw its hand axe at you as the beginning of its attack.
It's at advantage because I attacked recklessly.
Ooh, that's right. So I get to re-roll that roll. Getting a 25 to hit with a hand axe.
Yep, absolutely.
And this will deal 7 points of slashing damage to you.
Rounded to 3 or 4.
Down to 3. Always round down. And then as it closes the distance, it'll make its second attack for the turn. As it whips about, pivoting on one foot, whipping about its long spined tail to slash at you with it, which will be again with advantage. So that's a 19 to hit.
Yeah.
For 8 points of piercing damage, rounded down to 4. And that will be its turn. We go to Lady Yael, who steels herself, realizes that this devil is injured, charges forward and tries to slash at it with her own slender sword. Getting a natural 20 again.
Nice.
On the hit. Dealing 13 damage, rounded, halved. It's 11. No, 6. All right, that brings us to Hephzibah. You are behind Eric as he so proudly stepped forward. What do you want to do?
I kind of peek out around Eric. Does this devil look like it's taken very much injury at all?
So the devil already walked into the fight, missing an arm, having a limp, already bloodied.
Okay.
and it's been taking some bits and gnashes here. It seems like
Alright.
the mundane weapons you've been wielding have been of little effect, but any kind of magical or elemental damage you've been able to bring forth has been a bit more successful in injuring it.
Okay, then she is going to pull something out of one of her pockets, and it looks like a little twig of something, and it's kind of scorched, and she kind of waves it like this, and a crackling blue beam of energy lances out at him, and I cast Witch Bolt.
Sorry,
I
which bolt?
Yes.
I'm kidding. Which bolt is that?
You're funny. Shit. Or I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna spend the 3 to reroll.
3 roll, yeah. 3 coins. So you bargain for another chance.
That's a 17 to hit. I like that one
17
much better.
hits.
And that is 9 damage as the lightning slams into him. And yeah, he continues to sort of glow with the sort of blue, lightningy, crackly energy. Almost like lightning would hit it again on my next turn, perhaps.
As you sustain that power just to
Yes.
be able to crack at it once more. Awesome. Any bonus actions?
That's it.
All right, Jacob, it is your turn.
He's in melee now, isn't he?
Eric had advanced a little bit, so not really melee in for you, because Eric had like kind of have the distance to interpose himself between
But
you.
he's in melee.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
in-
sorry,
yeah,
it's in
yeah.
melee with Eric. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I am going to again, I maybe step to the side a little bit so I get a good angle, but I am going to throw a couple more blades at him. 14.
14 does not hit.
Okay. And then the other hand. Wow, I just really need to practice with my good hand. 22 to hit.
Yep, that hits.
So this time I do get my sneak. Damage still is pretty pathetic, but it's not so. 5 points, and then my sneak is another 5, so 10 points of psychic
That's
damage.
exactly how much you needed to dispatch this injured barb devil down to 0. Go ahead and describe it for me, please.
Yeah, so I think this time the first soul blade just kind of maybe kind of clinks on him or whatever and dissipates before it actually pierces, but the second one pierces him into in this case maybe the chest area, and we see the inky blackness of the soul knife just kind of again absorbs into this creature's body, and he shrieks as again whatever he's got for like a nose starts to just drain blood as he is basically lobotomized inside and falls dead.
No, Zariel, no, I'm sorry. And like dies, clutching at its own head,
And as he's
collapsing to the
dying,
ground, dead.
yeah,
Mhm.
Jacob in Infernal again is like, told you wouldn't last that long.
As this barbed devil falls to the ground, you see that infernal hand axe hang into the side that had glanced off of Eric, giving that kind of nasty wound. And that wound of yours, Eric, it lingers, and it will linger for a while. And perhaps Jacob can understand why, for Jacob also has a wound like that upon his neck. It feels heavy, this wound. Is this something, as if something has marked you now?
If I see that on Eric's arm, I do not wish this upon you, but looks like you have the same injuries. Luckily, it was just your arm.
and you will live, and hopefully not be damned as I am.
And he looks to Zoe as he says that.
Everyone deserves redemption at some point. Maybe this is your way of getting it.
Or maybe I'm just where I'm supposed to be.
That too. I still think you're fun.
He kind of gives like a little half smirk at that.
I don't think any others followed us out here. Yael looks from beyond where this devil had come from. We just have to leave. We have to get to those. And then she looks up and sees that the charge of that flaming angel is no longer headed towards Elturel, but has altered its course to head directly towards you guys. She stands there, eyes agape.
Hepzibah's gonna like shake her arm and
We have to go. We have to go.
yes.
Have to get that sword. Get the sword. Save Elturel. We can do it. We can do it. If my name isn't Lady Yael Winwarin.
I hope that's your name. And she continues moving towards these mountains that Yael had pointed out while we were on the chains.
And so the six of you, beleaguered and being almost dragged down, exhausted by the oppressive elements here in Avernus, the oppressive heat, this thick, smoky air that burns your lungs, makes you gasp for air if you exert yourself too much. And this weird psychic evil that pulls your spirits down. All of you, please make Constitution saving throws as you try to make the last leg of this journey, foot over foot, step by step, towards that giant hand of stone, that mountain in the distance. So Yael and Aeolian, Hepzibah, and Jacob all gain a level of exhaustion as your body begins to protest against hanging out in one of the infernal planes of hell. You're not meant to be here. And this place will pull you down with it. At last, after a long journey, you come up to what this strange mountain is. It looks as exactly as Yael has described, even up close. It is hand-shaped in the stone of this tall red basalt stone. So I give you all the picture of it. It is here. I remember it. Those Kenku brothers. This was their hideout. And you can see along its edge, along one of its long flanks, pointing away from the River Styx, is a long wall made of jagged metal and crashed infernal machines that form a long palisade around the outside of it. But otherwise, this place seems to be empty and in ruin, as if there's no one here for long or ever has been here. I remember there's tunnels in this place. Just follow me. I think I can. My feet know where to go, at the very least. Muscle memory.
Lead the way.
She leads you across and up this hill where this rust red sand shifts beneath your feet. You enter between the cracks of two of these finger-shaped expanses of stone, entering into one of the a passageway that opens up in the darkness. And there you see, in a grand, expansive cave, lit by waxen candles and torchlight, it's some kind of rudimentary workshop. You can see two black-feathered raven humanoids. They seem to be busy banging and working on one of those infernal machines you've seen before, wielded by devils, except it's kind of scrap and make, rudimentary, and seems to be cobbled together from other bits of scavengery. And just as they turn their heads to see you, there's a twang and a snap as some tripwire in this place was tripped, and all of you begin suspended from a net that hangs you all crumpled up together, in an unfortunate kind of net trap where you're all kind of bunched up, faces pressing against bodies, against shoulders, and one of you probably has an elbow digging right into your back as the full weight of one of your companions is on top of you.
Ow!
Zoe's trying to like maneuver so her horns don't poke anyone.
What is? One of these raven creatures stands up. The other one goes, Clunk, what is? They say to each other as they advance. And as they bring this torchlight in one hand, the one that wields a torch, has their hand on their hips. The other one has a long silvered pike, waiting to kind of just poke you to see what you will squeal. Not devils, not demons. Kind of brings the flame around. Just horns and horns. Tiefling, satyr, human, of a Dalkin, Ashsamar, elf, Gelindra. It is Gelindra. What? The other one says. And as you hang suspended there, that is where we're ending the session.
Yolinda, what?
So it's not her name, and therefore
We have been lied to this whole time.
What was that she just said a few minutes ago? Or my name's not.
yeah, right? Like, we're gonna do this. Oh, my name is such and such. Yeah, well, it's not. So
Well, it's not, guys.
Here is the picture of the two Kenku brothers.
I love them.
They were the ones that you saw in your vision, Zoe.
ooh.
So thank you. That is the end of this session. On a real cliffhanger, on a trap hanger, I guess, a
Mhm.
net hanger.
Yes.
A party hanger, right?
Party
Yep.
hanger.
All right.
Fantastic as always.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you, Vi, for another incredible session, and everybody else. A reminder that this is a bi-weekly campaign, so we will be back on the 18th, 2 weeks from tonight, with our next session. So mark that on your calendar. Tune in Thursday, where the Dawnbringer should be returning. Friday, I will be over on Nerdarchy for the return of Untraditionally Arcane. And of course, on Monday nights, you can catch Dwight and I and the rest of the book club in Scribes and Scrolls, the Candlekeep Mysteries. So we're going to get out of here in a moment. We're going to throw a raid over to Gnome Ann, who's playing some D&D. But yeah, thank you to our chat. So many raids, so many soul coins, subscriptions, and bits, and all that stuff. Thank you all so much. As always, if you are somebody who lurks silently in the shadows, but watches from your hiding spot where you lurk, thank you. We appreciate you just as much, and we hope you enjoy the show as well. And excuse me, and a huge thank you to our incredible dungeon master Vi, and all of these amazing players with Karen, Dwight, Nicole, Sarah, and myself, without whom this would just be Vi talking to herself for a couple hours. With that, we are going to go ahead and end the stream the same way we end every stream. And you can say it with me if you want.
Metadata.
Da-da-da-da.